The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode. And now, here's Brandon.
Welcome again to the Brandon Peters Show. For the first real new episode of 2023, I did a solo episode last week. That was kind of something, but we're here today discussing the Urban Legend series of films that ran from 1998 to 2005. And joining me for that, we have got the I Know What You Did Last Summer reunion of voice of the show and from the Bob and Tom Show, Jessica Alsman.
Hello.
And author, not of ULs.
Thank you.
Greg McGoon.
Hello.
Greg, I hope you appreciate it. I called it series of films and not franchise, like I did.
Yes,
I Know You Did Last Summer.
Yes.
Called it.
Thank you.
So yeah, we did this I Know What You Did Last Summer trilogy thing for its anniversary last year, or months ago, but it was last year.
Yeah.
And people, you listeners, you loved it. You guys, I got a lot of feedback on that one. Really strong, positive vibes. Some what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Gifts. And so we're here with Urban Legend, the other series that came out during the Scream era. Also of note, my son told me, who's been seeing some of these for the first time, he said he was with my wife somewhere and he used "What are you waiting for, huh?"
Yes.
So he said something. He's like, yeah, so I guess that film was worth something or something like that. He wasn't the biggest fan of those. He did watch the first two of these, just like Jessica. So our conversation here is going to be the three of us for two films, and then Jessica's going to enjoy Greg and I describing the third one.
I knew I was forgetting something, but to be fair, I've never seen the second one before, and I haven't seen the whatever you want to call that. Is it a third one or just a third movie?
It's a third movie with an Urban Legend title.
It does mention the first two films in a passing. One of the classic research scenes that we used to have in movies. But
well, I missed it. I was in a bathtub full of ice.
Yeah.
Getting cut open. So
there you go.
I can't wait to hear your thoughts and comments though on it.
Gotcha.
And I'll go and watch it.
So, did miss out on some killer CGI though in that third one. I will say you are deprived of some of those CGI effects that I don't think our interpretation and description will do it justice, but one day you'll experience it.
And the world's introduction to Kate and Rooney Mara. So
that's right.
So
it had potential.
It had potential.
Anyway, we'll get into that. So just like I said, about the third, I always know what you did last summer. It could have been good. The Bloody Mary could have been actually good.
It could have been. So this 1998, we went by it when we talked about. I still know what you did last summer. This came out during the just push of we had Halloween H2O. This one comes out, Urban Legend. We have Bride of Chucky. And then I still know what you did last summer. Lots of slasher stuff. But where were you at with the series? Like Jessica, apparently you didn't see them all. I saw them all. Well, I meant back when they came out. When they came out.
I only saw the first one.
Yeah.
When it came out. We got the VHS. I was the house you go to watch scary movies.
Yeah.
I was in elementary school.
I was one of those.
Loved it. So I was having all the girls over, and of course we're like, Pasty winner, OMG, and all that fun stuff. But I never saw the second one ever. I don't know how I missed it.
Oh.
I don't know how you did either.
You didn't hear the dolphins cry?
I saw the first one in theaters, and I will vividly remember when I saw that in theaters because a movie, which I'll get to why from the movie, but what I experienced through the movie, which is actually a tie-in to Scream, oddly enough.
Oh, okay.
Because I was 12 when I saw Urban Legends in theaters.
Gotcha.
Because, it came out in 98. So I was 12. And side note tangent, which we're going to talk about Scream eventually, but staying at like a family friend's house, and I'm sleeping on the couch, and the TV is off. It's dark in the room, and the TV's facing, like, the couch kind of faces stairs, and there's a little like walkway behind it, kind of like in the first Scream movie. Kind of wake up in the middle of the night, and I'm looking at the reflection of the TV. And as I'm looking at the reflection of the TV, hovering over me is somebody wearing the ghost face mask. After I saw Urban Legend, I bolted the couch, ran to the kitchen, started throwing pots and pans, screaming as a 12-year-old. But basically, I got randied in Scream. Only like Ghostface actually like went after me after seeing Urban Legends. So like, because I was kind of on edge because of one scene in the movie, which we'll get to, in Urban Legends, and they like played on my fear, and they had to like, and they knew I loved Scream, so they used their Ghostface mask to like basically terrify me. So the night I saw Urban Legends in theaters, I was like scarred and traumatized as a child by the Ghostface mask.
Gotcha.
So I will always remember that night when I almost destroyed somebody's house, because you don't want to mess with me when I'm scared, because I will try to kick your ass even as a 12-year-old.
Oh, gotcha.
Right, you're in fight mode. You'll fight. You're not going to freeze.
Yeah, I really did. I was throwing pots and pans. I was like, I don't care.
I saw the first two in the theaters opening weekends. The first one I skipped a group lunch because it was like a school half day, and I was like, nope, I'm going to see Urban Legend. Sorry. First screening. It's at 1:00. Got to do that because I was cool. And then the third one, I believe I did the subtitle quality control check on it when it came to DVD. So I got to see that before it came out or whatever. But also in my room in high school, I said I had this I Still Know What You Did Last Summer poster last time. Next to it was the Urban Legend poster, which was also double-sided light box. Didn't mess around.
Is this podcast just going to do movie posters from your bedroom as a child?
I guess that's all we're doing.
Covering that, those are the series we'll do.
Just wait till we get
that's fun.
Wait till we get to Species.
Oh, you had that on. Wait,
I had the poster.
Movie posters.
I had the poster for the second one because it was a lenticular. One of my friends who worked at the video store like held it for me. I didn't even like the movie, but it was because it was this lenticular poster where it was Natasha Henstridge when you walked by it, she turned into the sill. So I was like, you know what, that's cool. I don't care. It's cool. So yeah, well, I also had the Grosse Pointe Blank poster, and we did that was my second episode of this show. So there's that. I guess we'll have to talk John Carpenter's Vampires because I had that one because it was the new John Carpenter movie at the time.
Yep.
And we're doing Scream, which I had the Scream 2 poster and a German poster for the original Scream up in my room as well. Like my room, you could not see the wall or the ceiling. It was top to bottom posters in high school.
That was like me, but my posters were much more random than yours because no one would ever guess the ones that I've had as a child. And they were all framed too. I like properly framed every poster. I had American Beauty, Moulin Rouge, Chicago, and Tomb Raider. So those were the four main posters I had on my wall. And then I had a life-size cardboard cutout of Pamela Anderson as Barbed Wire, the one where she's like leaning on the ground, like the double gun like thing. I had that cardboard cutout, which I got from a movie theater, and a cardboard cutout of Sarah Michelle Gellar as Buffy, which isn't a movie, but like those were my like movie featured things in my room.
It doesn't have to be that. Yeah, that's an awesome cardboard cutout. I had a Boba Fett cardboard cutout.
Oh, no rhyme or read it.
But yeah, okay. Let's head on into the first film of the series, Urban Legend.
Contemporary folklore passed on as a true story. This is what we call an urban legend.
On September 25th.
Isn't there another story about a guy with an axe hiding in a woman's backseat?
The legends.
What is he going to do next? Spider eggs and bubblegum?
Are coming to life.
Why isn't anyone listening to me?
Call 911! This girl, she could have been any one of us.
Everything you heard is true. Urban Legend. Rated R. Opens everywhere September 20th.
Directed by Jamie Blanks, written by Silvio Horta, who went on to be a writer-producer for the United States Ugly Betty, starring Alicia Witt, Jared Leto, Rebecca Gayheart, Joshua Jackson, Tara Reid, Michael Rosenbaum, Loretta Devine, Danielle Harris, Brad Dourif, Natasha Gregson Wagner, and Robert Englund. It's about a college student suspects a series of bizarre deaths are connected to certain urban legends. Some notes here. Apparently, Tara Reid replaced Sarah Michelle Gellar as Sasha, and in this, and also Melissa Joan Hart rejected this one too for the lead, as did Reese Witherspoon.
Was Melissa Joan Hart ever in a slasher?
No.
I don't think she's just interested in this.
No, she wasn't.
Michelle Gellar like doing Cruel Intentions or something during that time, which was
I think it was Buffy. It was Buffy.
Yeah, she was Buffy. She was too famous, like getting too famous at that point.
Yep.
Although she did agree to do Scream 2. So.
Yeah, that was because it was 2 scenes, and it was kept.
They expanded her role in Scream 2. Anyways, but we'll talk about that later.
Yes. Let's go with Jessica. Your thoughts on urban legend, your initial thoughts and such.
It took me back to being a child and watching it as an adult, because I don't think I've seen it since I was probably maybe in junior high.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of such a silly premise that there's like a college course on urban legends, and this is like the first time they're hearing about them all, I guess, because even as a kid, I thought I knew about them, but maybe it's from this movie that I learned about them, if that makes sense. But I loved the entire cast, and I feel super old because I didn't realize who half of them were during that time, and now it's like, oh my gosh, look who it is. Except for Joshua Jackson and Rebecca Gayheart. I feel like those are the only 2 people I really knew during that time. And I love Pacey Witter, and I love bleach blonde Pacey Witter, but I absolutely love Rebecca Gayheart. And as I was watching the movie, rewatching it, there are certain lines that you remember, and all of a sudden it's like I'm quoting it with it. And I was like, oh my gosh, that really stuck with me, including the end of the movie which I don't know if we're allowed to give spoilers that early.
Yeah. Oh, spoil away. I assume everybody.
Brenda, aka Rebecca Gayheart, with her beautiful curly spiral crazy hair, everything she was saying, I was like, oh my God, I remember all of this. When she's I'm trying to think of what I wrote it down, because I remember saying this all the time. It was hold on. That's right. I wrote it in type. Lucky for you, Miss Thang. And then I tried therapy and obviously it didn't work. But her whole crazy vibe at the end, I absolutely loved it. I loved that she was the killer. But then again, the whole time knowing that it's going to be her, I'm like, how the heck did she drag all these male bodies that are probably heavier than her? Because she is tiny. Not saying she's not strong, but like she had to have some manpower to just haul all these bodies around so quick. And it goes back to the I know what you did last summer theory that, when you're a killer, you have magic superpowers and things can just vanish, like crabs in a trunk. Where are they now? Oh, a body in a car and broken glass. No big deal. Already gone. Like that part just kind of blew me away. I still don't understand how she was going to frame Wexler, Robert Englund. Like, oh, he obviously killed himself. And I'm like, how? He looks really stabby. Like, I was like, that's kind of a whatever, but everything else was fine. I loved it. And the cheesy, like, let me tell you the story about why I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. And I killed everybody else with a slideshow because she's that crazy. And I love it.
It's theatrical. It's great.
I love it. I know.
It. And I was
it really is good.
It's like, I hope she kills them all and gets away with it. It'd be great. Which she kind of does get away with it, clearly.
Yeah, she really kind of does.
She's a swimmer. So she goes in the water. Great. She'll swim right out of it. And seeing her at the end with her straight hair. Not a fan of the straightened, hair, whatever. Yeah. It's fine, but I love it. I love it.
I'll say this for the movie. It does have a scapegoat in that the wrap around the end of the movie is someone telling a story. So it can be embellished. It can be, all the things we're like, I don't know about that. Well, it's some guy telling a story maybe. And so and the urban legend always, so it has that escape route to it. So Greg, your initial run with this original urban legend.
I love this movie. I mean, the premise of it is actually genuinely very clever. Like the concept of it is really funny because urban legends exist out of myth. So it actually is a clever idea to create these myths in real life and like do it in your own in your own style. And I love that she was the killer. And really, if you break down urban legend's core, avenge the death of her soulmate. So I appreciate that aspect of her unhinged behavior. She's doing it out of love, despite the fact that she was killing all these people. But I like the urban legends that they actually chose. And I loved the opening scene, although it was very frustrating. The opening scene is frustrating for a number of reasons for me, but clever. It was well made. It was funny. It was interesting. I thought the characters were interesting, and I really wish that college course was offered at my university because I would have taken it.
Yeah.
Touching on what you just said in that opening scene, again, it's one of those iconic. You're hearing the song, which she's tone deaf and she's singing with it, even though I think she has control over it because she starts the song over when she gets back in the car. So it's not really the radio station.
It's a cassette. She puts a cassette in.
Okay, good.
Yeah, she puts a cassette tape.
What's her face? Sasha or Tara Reid's like, my voice is the last thing she.
Yeah, she put a cassette in. Yeah.
Hearing. It's like, shut up, Tara. Also, the radio station. I forgot about that. That's not how that works. That's not how radio works. You don't walk around with a headset all over a building on a college frequency. I'm sorry.
She wears a headset and into the mic at the same time. I'm like,
and guess what? If it's playing in the studio, it's feedback. You can't do that. There's I was like, okay, well, obviously she's not on the radio, but that's fine. That's fine. It worked when I was 12. I believed it. But now that I work in radio, I'm like, just
sons of bitches.
Oh,
but the car scene, like you were saying, like,
yeah.
How do you decapitate someone and the car just doesn't crash?
Thank you.
Like,
that was my biggest thing. She's driving and driving fast. How did the car stop?
I guess she just cut the head off. And so it slowly just
cut the head off
to a halt.
And then she takes the axe and uses it to push the brake.
I just was like, hold on. First thing that would happen is like jerking motions. And
from what I've never chopped off a head before. But I've heard it's a lot of work. So I just don't know. Like, I can't imagine Rebecca McGoon in the back and trying to do anything in the back seat of a car. It's really hard. So, like, if you're
the passenger seat,
you're going to hit the headrest, like the headrest.
Yes.
I don't know how she cleanly got that around to chop her head off. Like, it would have gotten stuck. Like, I don't know how the car didn't swerve off the road. And it was raining. There were so many things about that, but really, I think that is the most remarkable thing about her kill is that she was able to accomplish that. Mm-hmm. Like right there, she is like, I want to watch the she documented her kills better, so we could see like the POV of like how it happened. I really don't know how you wrote in my notes. It was like, how did the car not crash after she chopped off somebody's head? So I'm right there with you. Here? But the other part,
hatchet.
That is one sharp blade because really, even when you see people like chop wood or like a watermelon with an axe, if you've fallen down that like road of YouTube, like the axe like still kind of gets stuck a little and like fine. So it's not going to just cleanly go off, especially with an armrest there. You can't get the full range of motion. Like, have you swung an axe before? It's a lot of work. I have. I've chopped wood. Like, I couldn't imagine in the back seat trying to get the right angle to chop a head off cleanly. I feel like it would get stuck and then out and like twisting her car. I don't know. But in theory, it's really good. I think it would be more effective if she like up and like slit the throat from behind her. But like the axe, that's just skill. That's talent if she pulled it off. And she did, according to the news report. So good on her in this universe. Got talent.
Yeah.
She even if she was in the passenger seat, she wouldn't have been able to pull it off. To get that momentum, because then you hit the windshield probably, or the steering wheel, or I don't know.
You would. The headrest is really what. Yeah.
Yeah, and the opening victim is a nice notable Natasha Gregson Wagner, who wasn't like a name herself, but she's Natalie Wood and Robert Wagner's daughter. So that's kind of, and they were trying to make her a thing at the time, putting her in stuff. She was also in like Lost Highway and some other things around the time. So that was a nice little touch there. Also, with Brad Dourif. In the beginning, the movie has its horror cred with Brad Dourif, Daniel Harris, and Robert Englund all in the same film. Personally, with me, I really like this movie a lot, and I think my esteem for it has grown in the years. I liked it when it came. I was eating up all the slasher stuff when it came out, so I liked it a lot back then. I don't know if I liked it as much as I Know You Did Last Summer or Scream at that time, but this is the one that actually, the others, they just made slashers. This one, like, with the Scream knockoff ones. This was the one that actually knock off Scream in a way. Like, okay, they did scary movies. We're doing urban legends, and we're even gonna have a phone call in it. We're gonna treat urban legends like they're hip things that kids just chat about all the time. They don't. They used to. I don't know if kids do nowadays, or they have different urban legends nowadays. But they talk about them like the people talk in movies and stuff in Scream, which is kind of nice and goofy. And the characters here, unlike I Know What You Did Last Summer, aren't on edge constantly. They're goofing off. They're, some don't take it seriously. They've got a pulse, and they're a bit more flimsy to walk around while we have our sad sap, final girl that goes around. But the wonderful Alicia Witt, I gotta give her credit. Always a big fan of hers. But her name doesn't roll off the Natalie Simon. Doesn't go with Sidney Prescott or Julie James too well, but Natalie. Because I think this one you remember Brenda more than that. The movie, I really thought, watching it this time, the director perspective, he doesn't have like too huge a scale. I mean, he can, but like Jamie Blanks does a lot of like camera work from above in this movie. There's a lot of overhead shots, and there's a lot of high angled shots looking down at people. I don't know if he's trying to tell us something with that, or it's just his stylistic choice. He's Australian, I believe, and you can definitely tell because he's got a roaming camera and it's moving. But it honestly feels like a guy that's like, I might get to make one movie for a studio ever. I'm throwing it all in here. And his craft is very impressive for what he's got to work with. And it's more interesting film to look at than it could have been with what's on paper. I also like all the hints to Rebecca Gayheart being the killer that I think are quite funny. There's one that the Latin motto of the university translates to "the best friend did it." It's on an emblem in the background of the prayers. And then, so there's that pool scene, which is stupid as hell.
Oh my gosh.
Where
don't get me started. You know how hot that area would be?
But like, so the pool scene where Rebecca Gayheart's swimming, Alicia Witt comes to see her through the window, sees a person in the most popular parka on campus.
Were we doing a coat count? Did you do a coat count?
There's a lot. But here's the thing. The person in the coat takes off. Not only is it a female, but she's in a swim gear as well. So she's very parallel to Rebecca Gayheart right there, telling you that's who's under it. And then when she's at the party and she comes up to her and she takes off a mask to reveal herself to Natalie at the party, like, hey, look, it's me. I'm like, oh, yeah, this brilliant. And also her last name's Bates. So
this is why I listen to your podcast, Brandon. Yes, you break it down like this.
Oh,
but like, and Rebecca Gayheart is just loving this, all of it. And especially when she's like, "Oh, I can't wait till I become the killer at the end," and she is just delicious as this. She probably steals a lot of Alicia Witt's thunder because of it. But you remember the killer. They bring her back for the next one for a cameo. Yeah, it's fun. There's Jared Leto, which is there to be a red herring.
Forgot about him. When I first saw it, I didn't know who Jared Leto was even during that time. Like when I was
My So-Called Life.
Oh, so good. Oh, that show is iconic. Ahead of its time.
Yeah. And Jared Leto, Rosenbaum. This is a launch pad. This is Tara Reid before American Pie. Who else is in here too? Oh, well, there's Joshua Jackson, of course. He takes breaks from Dawson's Creek to go film slashers. So gotta give him credit.
Yeah, but how funny. How losing again. Girls my age were watching this at the damn slumber party. Mm-hmm. And when he turns that car on and you hear Paula Cole, he's like, I hate that song. It is so funny. I love those little Easter eggs. And at the end, they mention how
the Noxzema girl.
Yeah, the Noxzema girl with Rebecca Gayheart, which of course I'm like, wait, was she in a Noxzema commercial? Because
she was the Noxzema girl.
She was the Noxzema girl, yeah.
And I didn't even know it. And so I'm like, what the? This is fantastic.
If you watch MTV and stuff, like she was like, there was a huge ad campaign for years, and you didn't know her name. It was just the Noxzema girl. That's what you call her. Just like Alicia Silverstone was the Aerosmith girl for a while too, because she was in like 3 Aerosmith videos. So that's before, so that's all you knew. You didn't get credits for those things. And then Rebecca Gayheart took off to an acting career. Kind of like the girl in, What's the cell phone commercials that has that one girl that everybody likes? Can't remember.
What
there was
Are you talking about AT&T or
might be AT&T. The one she was gonna play Squirrel Girl in something for Marvel at one point, but I don't think that happened. But she's been in cell phone commercials for years that people just know her.
Huh.
Oh yeah, if I type in cell phone commercial girl, it's Milana Vandertrub. But yeah, she's in those commercials. And AT&T, yeah, Lily from AT&T. That's what she plays.
Huh.
Yeah, this is the big cast. Robert Englund here.
who's
Fun
in
to watch.
Scream
Mm-hmm.
and his own things.
Yeah.
But I like the little cameos. Like, let's pull in Robert Englund.
And Daniel Harris from Halloween 4 and 5 as the roommate.
Your favorites.
Yes.
Oh, Joshua Jackson and Rebecca Gayheart were in Scream 2.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Look at this.
Yep.
They're just the same. They're the same movies.
But
yeah, they are. Kills in this movie were surprisingly more brutal than I remembered. Actually, I was really surprised about, especially when you find out who the killer is. You're like, she's just like not wasting time on this. Like the Pop Rock's death. That was just brutal. Like force feeding him down the throat. Like you couldn't take it. Like woof.
After I microwave your dog.
No, that one hurts.
That one still made me uncomfortable. The fact that like she actually went as far to microwave a dog, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this right now. Like, I don't know. That was hard. I knew it was coming, and yet still now I judge her harshly more for microwaving the dog than killing everybody else in this movie. Like, I kind of was like, I really wanted to root for her, especially at the end, because when she said, like, you can say I'm a little nutty. And like, I was like, I love that about her. Like, I love that. Like, I was like, you're so fun. Like, I would be your friend, even though you're a deranged killer. Like, I mean, if I didn't like kill the love of your life, then I would be totally safe and we could probably get brunch. But like you killed a dog, and I don't know if I want to have brunch with a dog killer. Like,
right.
I have my boundaries, and I think like everybody else's death, I could kind of look past, but the dog, like I don't want you to get away with this, Rebecca Gayheart. Like, you're a little nutty, but that's one step beyond nutty. A dog in a microwave.
Yeah, there's the one thing I teased up top, but like when she's like, "What? I don't know, Natalie. What's your favorite UL?" I'm like, no one says that. No one.
Never caught it before. Rewatching this, I was like, that's funny.
I was like, no.
I love that she just called it a UL because she's obsessed with it now.
You're not making that happen. No.
She could do no wrong at that point. Minus the dog.
Agreed. So we're just gonna forget about the dog moment, because that character, like, yeah, the owner of the dog was a douche, but the dog deserved to live. Okay, first of all, another thing about this movie that confused me: Joshua Jackson. Why did he walk so far away from the car to pee? Like, can we like have like a moment? He's like, he went on like a nature walk. He was like, no, like, I get that he was like bothered by the whole "we're not gonna like have sex in my car" moment, because he tried really hard to like hit on her and that wasn't working. But he just wandered off so far away. She's in a car. You could literally pee behind the car and you're fine. I don't know. Is he that pee shy? Because he basically just confirmed his death right there.
That I've ever been around, like they had to go. They just turned to a corner that could have went to any tree. They don't go that far because they're like, I'm peeing. It's happening.
Yeah, he went on a reflective nature walk, and I'm just like, you're gonna die.
Right.
Which I'm not mad about.
I feel like he's a guy who's shown his friends his wiener on more than one occasion. So I don't think he'd be shy to go pee somewhere by the car.
Right. He has no problem
lying
about
this movie, where he is kind of that player douchebag who really probably is that guy to walk into a party and be like, look at my dick, everybody, because he essentially did that in the car with her. So I don't know, but
even
that bothered me. Like, there was
he kept trying to hit on her. Like, he was really persistent.
Yes. She had one black eye or each witness. So she was solid in it. But her character was written kind of, what's the word I want to use for her character? Like, she was very strong, but they made her too reserved. And I mean, like, the character was written kind of more like snappiness to her. Like, the way it was written, they just kind of, her character was so, because anybody compared to Tara Reid in this movie would fall flat, because Tara Reid was just a mess, which she is in most movies, and that's why we watch her. but so was absurd, and that absurdity of like climbing over the balcony of that thing, like what are these people doing? I don't even know.
I did like in this movie,
like what
I miss when Tara Reid didn't look like a skeleton. It was nice to see her. I did a convention with her years ago as a guest. She was there, and like she was an issue because she kept disappearing during time she was supposed to be in places. I feel bad. I feel like, I don't know why with Tara Reid, but I'm like, I feel like she wants to do better and struggles or something like that. I don't know. Hey,
yeah, but she landed in the Sharknado franchise, and for that I am grateful. So
yeah, that should have helped it out. That should have been because those were fun. We all watched together as a community.
In Robert Englund's office or Wexler's office, I know there's a bunch of like stuff, but were there any like giant Easter eggs that stood out that you noticed? Because I like to look for those things. It's fun, little nods, but I didn't see anything. So.
No, I didn't.
No.
Mm-mm.
But what I was saying earlier, where I said that this movie traumatized me as a child, and it actually genuinely did, and still to this day, I get a little on edge. The car slicing the Achilles. After I saw that movie, I could not get into a car without checking underneath it first. For years, I could not get into a car without looking underneath it first. And anytime I see a horror movie, still to this day, when I get into my car, I kind of like run to it and open the door really quickly just because of the scene. So this did leave a lasting impression that has haunted me still to this day. Yeah, like I really do hot because for some reason, even if the horror movie that I saw has nothing to do with like legs getting sliced in the Achilles, I still, for some reason, just feel like there could be somebody under my car after a horror movie. I don't know why, but I do. And it's because of this movie. As a impressionable 12-year-old that was soon like traumatized by the Scream mask after watching it, was traumatized by getting the Achilles cut. Because like, what do you do in that situation? I think it's a smart move to do. It drops the person to the ground, and then you basically can have your way with them to murder them. And it's traumatizing. It's scary. So I thought she was very clever for that one. And it is an urban legend. And now I understand why, because it haunts me to this day that I still think of people being under my car. So I will give this, that is why this movie will always be in my list of like scary movies or impressionable movies, because of that scene. Which she like doubled down and like ran him over on the car spikes too, which was great. But the slow crawl, that gets me every time.
They should have had Brad Dourif come back and be like, there's someone under the car.
Yep. Oh, that's the other thing. The opening scene, the man, okay, I'm sorry, but he's doing himself no favors. Like, I get that he had a stutter. I get that he was a little like, paper, there's someone in the backseat of your car. Like, he wasn't doing himself any favors to make it not creepy. Like, he was like, haha, I'm locking the door. Like, he was actively being creepy when he could have been like, follow me. And the girl could have been confused. She's like, what is it? And like wrote on a piece of paper, there's someone in the backseat of your car. There was so much that could have been done. But instead, he just, like, in the time he casually, slowly locked the door and did all these other things, he could have just written it down. And not only that, time of him writing it down, did he think the person was going to come out of the car? Like, that person in the back seat wasn't moving. So what was there to be scared of? Like, get her out of the car, tell her to not do that, or return to the car and open the back seat with a gun or something. Why lock her in the gas station?
Yeah, we see you.
Yeah, I'm very confused by all that, but that confused me, and it did no favor. I mean, I get why they did it. And I feel sorry for that man who was accused of the murders, because he was really an innocent, nice guy who was just trying to do somebody a favor. And maybe he lacked social skills. We don't know if he was on the spectrum. Like, I just, like, this man really got a bad rap, redemption for the gas station attendant. Like, I want to see what happened to his life after Urban Legend. Wait, didn't he get killed or no? I feel like, didn't they say
they arrested him?
They arrested him, yeah. Or
they murders.
Yeah, they arrested him. Yeah, but like, see, I want redemption. I need the movie of the gas station attendant and what happened after Urban Legends.
You got it.
And like, did he ever like get over his stutter in prison or something? And then, or did like Serial do a podcast on him in this universe and like finally get him a retrial? Like, I want justice for this poor man with a stutter who was just trying to help out a pretty college co-ed. I mean, that's just a sad life for him.
I mean, hopefully he was released from prison or jail because they had the PowerPoint presentation of Rebecca Gayheart admitting to everything. They could be like, I guess
but like,
didn't do it.
But she got out. But I'm still confused on that because she would have to call it the real stories more wild or whatever she said to that group of teens, like telling the story at the end. But then don't we see her? Wait, no, that's in the second movie. Now I'm getting them mixed up. Wait, in the first one, she's in the second movie. Okay, and now I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry. I'm just thinking of Rebecca Gayheart and how she plays into it. Okay.
Yeah. Couple of things before we move on. There's one character we should probably discuss for a sec. Reese, the campus security person.
Oh, I love her.
It's just like coffee.
And she's the voice of reason when Alicia Witt gets into her car. It's like, what are you doing walking on this campus, getting into a stranger's car? It's like, you're a security woman. But still, it's just funny that she was like testing her and all that. And I love that she came back in the second movie. I love that for her. But no, she was really funny. And I think she's better. I think her role is stronger in the second movie, though.
Oh, yes. yeah.
But I love her. Yeah, her role is stronger in the second movie. But I think she's kind of the voice of reason, where I love a movie with self-awareness. And I feel like she's the character to bring that certain level of self-awareness to the movie that all the other characters don't have. So, which makes the movie campier, which I appreciate, because a concept like this, I like a movie with a little bit of camp in it. And this movie has that. And she kind of, without her, the movie would have probably fallen flat.
Right. I mean, I like camp and earnestness more than I do like snark. There's a difference. And like a lot of movies today get caught up in snark, which is kind of getting, to try to make it like, hey, this is stupid, right, everybody? So those of you embarrassed to be here feel okay. No, just be earnest, have some camp, enjoy yourself.
Agreed.
She was disrespected. Except that's where I'm starting to wonder now, because this university sucks. Like to cover up all these murders. And as you connect to the second one, apparently, maybe that gas station attendant is in jail. Excuse me. Maybe he is in jail because they wanted to cover up all the urban legend murders. So maybe they just acted like none of that happened. I don't know how they all died. They just disappeared. And a dog is in a microwave. That's just how it came.
Which is funny too. Yeah, it came with every microwave comes with it. That's sad. Oh, I want justice for the dead dog. What was I going to say? Oh, because the thing is, Jared Leto's character is writing an article about like the death of it, and the universe is like, we can't do that. We're the safest campus in the nation. And they make an active point of saying, like, we're so safe, number one. And then, like, God forbid, one person dies, like a whole stream of murders happen. I appreciate the ending with slight fake out that they gave us when Paul showed up and playing her. A little bit, like where he tried to like say Rebecca. I almost for a second believed. I was like, wait, did they team up? I thought it was just her. Like rewatching it, I actually thought for a second, oh, that is smart. If like he was so obviously potentially the killer, the movie's making it out that way, and then it ended up being her. But then it actually was like a duo thing, kind of like with the original Scream, where it was Stu and Billy. Yeah. Where you think like, oh, it's too obvious to be anyway. So I thought like Paul in this actually was, and when he was saying that, like Alicia Witt's face was like, wait a second, are you actually teamed up with her? And that scene was well played out. But really, the credit goes to Rebecca Gayheart for acting skills to play Paul as he was playing her, because she was like glowing like, oh, you're right. And I was like, I'm believing her, until she was like, who do you think I am? And it's like, oh,
you're cute. Sorry. Not that freaking
you're cute. You're the bitch that yeah, it was clever. Like I appreciated that the movie really just kind of that like trope upside down, where took the twist that you would have expected, but you wouldn't. Like, I'm not that stupid. So there were stupid choices being made, and it really fit the era that it was filmed in with that dumb teen slasher vibe. But it was a really clever concept, and it was interesting. So assuming that they were about it as much as I am right now.
Before we head on out to Urban Legend, I was trying to note some of the songs featured in the movie. It didn't really have like a soundtrack, but there's, of course, Total Eclipse of the Heart. There was Rob Zombie's Spook Show Baby, a song I loved back then called Save Yourself by Stabbing Westwards in there. And then, so there's Love Roller Coaster, but there was a serious conversation in this movie happening as Zoot Suit Riot by Cherry Poppin' Daddies played in the background. I'm like, is that fucking Zoot Suit Riot? And it's like this dramatic, I think it's Jared Leto and Alicia Witt are talking about some serious shit. And in the background's Zoot Suit Riot, roll back a bottle of beer, Zoot Suit Riot. And I was like, wow, okay. That was during the swing revival there. But yeah. Jamie Blank's notable, doesn't do any more Urban Legend, but he does go on to make Valentine, which we will talk about sometime down the road here. But yeah, so that's the first Urban Legend, which I believe we all quite enjoy. But now we'll move to Urban Legend's final cut.
You ever hear the urban legend about the dead hitchhiker?
A serial killer who murders 8 students.
Hello? What's going on? How'd you hear that? You don't think it was real?
Not enough blood. Whoever's doing this is gonna come after you again.
It's just an urban legend.
Urban Legend's final cut.
Urban legend, Mike.
Rated R. Opens everywhere September 20.
Directed by John Ottman. He was the editor and composer for like Bryan Singer's movies. That's where he comes from. Written by Paul Harris Boardman and Scott Derrickson. That Scott Derrickson who did Doctor Strange, The Black Phone, Sinister, all that stuff. And Paul Harris Boardman, he wrote Hellraiser Inferno, Exorcism of Emily Rose, and Deliver Us from Evil with Scott Derrickson. So they're a bit of a writing partner. And he recently had written an episode of Archive 81, which was a lovely little show on Netflix that they shit canned after one season. Though that season is self-contained enough, I think it'd still be enjoyable, even though there's a slight cliffhanger. It stars Jennifer Morrison, Matthew Davis, Hart Bachner, Loretta Devine, Anson Mount. Whoa, Joey Lawrence, Ava Mendes. Yes, Ava Mendes, Jessica Caulfield, Anthony Anderson, and Jacinda Barrett. A film school is the center of a fresh spate of killings based on urban legends. So, Greg, we'll start with you here on this one.
Okay, so I really enjoyed the second one, but it had one element many in it. The urban legends are cool. I think the concept worked well enough for her doing her film project, but I just think once you start really diving into the motives and all that, it just became so convoluted that by the end, I was like, what is happening again? Like, in what world is this like a film school that they're actually doing it? But I appreciated how, I'm trying to remember when I saw it in theaters. I know I saw it in theaters, but it didn't stand out to me as something as scary. I thought this movie was oddly enough funnier than the first one. If it was for the right reasons, I found it funnier. And I loved the sequence of this movie. And I loved the blonde girl who couldn't act. I love that girl. She's my favorite.
She'll link up with the director of the first one in Valentine. Jamie Blank.
In Valentine.
Legally Blonde, isn't she?
Huh?
Isn't she in Legally Blonde?
Yes.
With,
she is in Legally Blonde. She's one of the two friends who's in the
with Warner
room, and they're like, "Yay, Elle!"
Yeah, which Warner's in this movie.
Yep. Oh, that's right. Yeah. No, this was like, all these movies are so incestuous, but I love her. I think she's so funny. And this film school has a budget for this status opening sequence that they can do in a film school. So that's just, it's like movies that have like high school plays in it. You're like, where are you getting the budget for these sets? Just like this college where I'm like, where are you getting the budget for a whole sound studio with an airplane in it that you can do a fake storm? I appreciate that girl's death. So yeah, I mean, overall, I don't know why I find the ending convoluted, but and then for some reason I never remember when I look at her. I don't Jennifer Morrison. Like I know it's Jennifer Morrison, but for some reason she looks so different to me than she is in Once Upon a Time, that TV show. That like for some reason I keep thinking of her as that other actress. I keep thinking that Urban Final Cut is the girl who played Mac on that the Secret World, the Nickelodeon show.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Larissa Olinka.
Yeah,
something like that.
Something like that. But I just, for some reason, I was like, oh, it's that girl, and I was like, oh, this is Jennifer Morrison. For some reason, she doesn't look like Jennifer Morrison in this movie to me.
Yeah, she was the ghost girl in Stir of Echoes. That's really what she was before this.
This is when women still ate carbs, though. Like, you know, everyone's still like a fuller face, and not like in a bad way. Like Tara Reid, like everyone just didn't look like. Not that's a bad thing. I wish I did, but I kind of felt better. I'm like, look at everyone looking like semi-normal before they realize they have a gluten allergy and everything else.
And yeah, Loretta is much stronger and more fun in this movie than the first one. So I'm glad that her part got expanded on and extended, because is she the only one returning?
Except for the cameo at the end, yeah.
Well, but like as an actual reoccurring, she's like the Jennifer Coolidge of urban legends, where like Jennifer Coolidge of White Lotus is like before Jennifer Coolidge of White Lotus, there was Loretta of urban legends.
Very true. Jessica, this is your first time seeing this, right?
First time. As an adult. Okay, I liked the movie. I kind of was coming in expecting not to like it. And I didn't recognize a lot of people until I'm like, oh my gosh, that's Anthony Anderson. This is young. This is, oh my God, Jennifer Morrison. I didn't even realize it was Joey Lawrence or Joseph Lawrence, as the credit says, until I was checking IMDb. And I'm like, that's freaking Joey Lawrence. Holy crap. I don't even know how I missed it. His Bop poster was on my wall as a kid. I should have known. Anson Mount, did not recognize him at all. And then even when I saw his name, I'm like, nuh-uh. And then I was like, what the heck? These adults are babies. So I was like more focused on that than the story for a while. But I love any movie that talks about people making movies, if that makes sense. So anytime you're seeing this behind the scenes stuff and they're talking it, there's like this like fire passion inside me. And I'm like, yeah, this is what I grew up on and I love it. And then I start to be like, why didn't I go that route? And then I get into a deep depression, but that's fine because I enjoyed the movie. And I agree with Greg. I got really confused with what was going on who's doing what. So I'm thankful that the killers explain it and then kind of keep explaining it, because even they know, they're like, we know, we're just going to say it. And then if you could repeat it back to the audience to make sure they're on the same page, that'd be great. So that worked. I was confused with the twin brothers. I was waiting for some type of a like it's really him. And so the guy's like, I put a gun in your mouth. And I'm like, okay, I guess that's really a twin brother that's randomly here and knows everything about everybody. Like, what the heck?
I will tell you this.
It's a murder.
I noticed this time. He never said twin. He only said brother. I don't even know if they're twins.
His hair is shorter, so it makes him a little less identical. But I was like, okay, it's a twin brother. Why did they not say twin?
This time I watched it, I was like, wait, he just said brother. Oh, it's another scene. No, all he said was brother. She said brother. Like
they must have like done an edit somewhere. They're like, crap, we took out the word. We took out twin. They'll figure it out. They know. We don't have to tell them it's a twin. Clearly, it's the same actor. Even though I'm checking IMDb and I'm like, it doesn't say Travis/Trevor. That's cool. And then I didn't even realize who it was that actually died and made the movie. That's where I kind of got confused. And I'm like, I'll let them tell me again.
It got too complicated.
But even Mendez? What the heck? All these people. I had no idea they were in it.
She was hot off Children of the Corn 5.
Did not catch that one. What was it? Oh, the whole beginning. Yeah, you're right. The whole plane thing. And they're kind of starting with a little bit of an urban legend with there's something on the wing, the Twilight Zone nod.
Yep.
But oh my gosh. Again, nothing made me happier than Rebecca Gayhart's appearance at the end.
There you go.
At the, whatever it is, psych ward. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
She is thriving. And even just her little moment, I was like, you bad.
Yeah.
I love it. Love her. I was like, definitely love this movie. But again, I got really confused. I don't understand where that roller coaster or the mining track came from. If that was an actual ride at an amusement park or if that's a part of the university. I missed that.
You know? They did reference it.
They had to rent it out.
Yeah, they rented it. It was like a local thing, like not the county fair because that wouldn't have been permanent, but like it was some form of. They tried to slip one line to justify it in the movie, so I was less bothered. What I was confused on is where did they get the budget for this, and how were they allowed to transform it? Like there were just certain things that I'm like, I know how these things actually work. As somebody who does like set dressing and other things in my life, I'm like, there's no way that would ever happen, that you could just kind of roll up to an abandoned like ride and just get a slap paint and bloody body parts all over it. But I mean, respect for their
I did like the check out these babies, and it was like him chopping a baby. I was like, clever pivot there. Because like, yeah, they would have to ride that like 6 times to get like ideas, right? And that seemed like a long ride for having like an hour to prepare. Yeah, this movie, I'm glad you both like it, because I've been a fan of it, oddly, in different ways throughout my life. When I first saw it, I was 18, and I was drawn to it because film school. I want to go to film school. This is what the life is like at film school. They're talking about Truffaut at film school. This is what people talk. This is how they talk. Oh, this is great. Oh man, Hitchcock Award. Wow, this movie's like speaking to me. I'm like, this is not the best slasher in the world, but it takes place at film school, and that's interesting because they're making movies, they're doing all this stuff. So I was suckered into this because I was a Midwestern 18-year-old guy with my dreams of going to Los Angeles. I would do that, and I'd never go to film school. I would take telecommunications at a school, but just these conversations, I geeked out on that when I was 18. Growing older, I still like it because of all these 90s, the Scream era slasher movies and horror movies. I don't think any of them got the 80s junkie slasher thing down better than this one. Like, if Scream's the prestigious one, Urban Legend's the one that really nicely knocks off Scream, but this feels like something made in 2000, something made from like 83 into 2000, right down to the convoluted fucking this is why the killer did it plot. This is right out of Happy Birthday to Me. Like, and the killer, it's Hart Bachner. Everybody knows Ellis Hahn's Booby from Die Hard, but he was in Terror Train. That should have been our fucking thing. Like the Jamie Lee Curtis slasher that was on the train, of course,
and mentioned in Scream.
In Scream. And so that should have been obvious, but I don't know. It's interesting. It's funny too. Like, this movie's like, yeah, we're not the greatest fucking thing, so let's have jokes and stuff. Joey Lawrence, really good in this movie. Like, he's got some good shit here. I like the nepotism brats thing that goes on here. That this time around, I was like, oh, they've got some like deeper thematics that I don't know if they realize they're doing here. The twin thing is dumb as shit. Like, it always, every time, like, I revisit, I'm like, the fuck, like, what? What was this? I get this is like, oh, I got a red herring idea, guys. But this is this is like Paul Dano in There Will Be Blood levels of like, this is weird. Like, is there a trick to this? No, there's it literally is what you're telling me.
And did it even have to happen? Like, he never showed back up. Could she not have like just found that reel?
Yeah.
And been like, wow, it's been sliced.
Yeah.
But she needed a love interest, or she needed to have that weird dream sequence sex scene where she gets almost killed.
Oh yeah.
Don't like, trust that was the whole purpose of him. But I almost would have preferred not like actually being killed and then him coming back being like, oh no, I'm the twin. But it really was him the whole time.
Yeah.
And then he gets revenge because they actually killed his brother because he was visiting. But you wouldn't know.
That would have been interesting to me if he like lied about whatever it could have been. That could have been funny to me if it was revealed that because I actually rewatching it, I thought like, or is he just like bullshitting and just like, wait, did he actually die in the first death? Because didn't they make it a clear point to say that his death, he was so brutally mangled, only like teeth or something?
Yep.
Like, prove like point that you didn't know who that body was. So he could have just used anybody, maybe pulled out one of his own teeth or something and like put it on that body. And they're like, oh, he faked his death and then came back. No, but no, they just said I'm a twin and then made them wear the exact same wardrobe. And there you go.
And this guy doesn't go around campus wearing hats and sunglasses or hoods or
Wouldn't everyone be like, Travis?
Whoa, isn't that the dude that? Yeah,
it's your memorial, man. I donated.
I know.
And how fucking amazing is a student film that a fucking adult, probably in his 50s, thinks it's going to be his ticket to Hollywood. Because there's a difference between a 50-year-old man turning that in and getting a deal and a guy who's like 23, 24 turning in something and being like, no, that's potential. Like there's a clear, like, it's like, if he's like 60 and turning in Brick, there's a difference between that and the guy who's like 27 turning in Brick, like there's a big difference.
Oh, there's a mention of my favorite movie in here. I just forgot about that. Was it the sound engineer Anson Mount is singing the Gone with the Wind theme. I'm sorry, Terrace theme.
Oh yeah.
Gone with the wind, gone with the... I was like, yes, thank you. If you can't, that's a great film. It won a lot of awards.
Yeah, I forgot about
stuff. So I was like, all right, Gone with the Wind mention. Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. He was singing it, and Anson Mount. He's there all the time, but I'm like, is he the killer? Like that's not really. I will say, like, Eva Mendes, who's there to be like, okay, this time it's. I will say, my son, when he watched these two, in the first one, he thought it was going to be Robert Englund, the professor. So the second one he's watching it, it's going to be her. He picked her, the girlfriend. I'm like, well, you fucking crisscrossed him because it is the professor this time.
That's still impressive.
But Eva Mendes, I first saw her in Children of the Corn 5. And when I saw that movie, I'm like, that girl's going to be a bigger star than these little straight to video things. And she did rise for a bit. She did ascend for a bit. And this was like a second time I saw her in something. I'm like, all right, she went from straight to video horror to theatrical horror. And then she had like Training Day, like the next year or something like that. But yeah, she's here. And Anthony Anderson. What, like, I would say like one of the bigger names at this time was Jacinda Barrett, who people probably don't even know who is now.
Wait, who's Jacinda?
She was the girl that got drugged and put in the tub.
Oh, what's she in?
She was in stuff at the time. She was not like a huge name, but in stuff. But yeah, I did like, when they were, Greg, you're talking about the where they get the budget for all these sets. The only one that like feels genuine is the dog in the closet.
Agreed.
That feels like an actual genuine film. Like they're in a studio. Great. I've been to like UCLA and stuff, and they have big studio, places to shoot, like warehouse, stuff like that. And so that's not far off. But yeah, the plane thing is like, what? They have that.
Were there other things they just kind of pushed in there that's like film 101? I know like the Chekhov's gun was literally it's Loretta's gun.
Yeah.
They make a point to bring that up, but I didn't know if there's anything else that's because some things they mentioned, like, I don't know what that is. I should look it up because I didn't do film studies.
Well, there's the one at the beginning when they have the little red herring, just the guy that hangs around the sets. But when he mentions the chip, whatever, and there's supposed to be some ring like, because they name famous people that went there and they're like Chip something. And that's the guy that, her dad, like, oh God, her dad was like a deciding vote on the Hitchcock Award when that guy was in college and all that. Like, cause it is like, this is okay. Rebecca Gayheart attending university with Natalie. That could have been a coincidence. And she's like, you know what? Let's get revenge. Let's do this. She's at my school. I could buy that. Had they gone to different universities, different lives would have been had. That wasn't, I still know what you did last summer, Levels of Lunacy. This is, well, I'm going to accept the daughter of a guy who's dead long ago, died long ago. And I'm going to bring her in And at the same time, this student made this fucking masterpiece so I'm gonna create a series of murders based on urban legends because she's gonna bring that idea to me. And yeah, I'm gonna get away, and she's gonna murder everybody, be the one who murdered everybody, and it is chef's kiss. Like,
yeah, I don't know how they came up with it, but by the end, as you were saying, Jessica, like I'm glad everybody just explained it to us because it really took a journey to get there. I was just happy with the death scenes, and yet somehow I also feel like the kidney death scene was irrelevant to this movie.
Mm-hmm. No, it feels like
that one.
It feels like it was shot and they had to fit it in the film somehow.
That one just didn't seem really relevant to the journey of, like, I think he just realized after he started killing people, he just was like, I really enjoy this right now, so I'm just gonna like keep it going. Like I just think like he got his like bloodlust and he's like, now what else can I do?
The kidney was supposed to be the dude because they drugged both drinks and he didn't drink his and he left. So he's like, well, I better make do on something here.
But that's my point. It's just like, why?
Right.
And I just, there wasn't, I mean, I appreciate that. But then I'm just like, you're going to give me this convoluted, very diabolical plan at the end when your killing was so arbitrary after all that. Like, at least if you could have just been a madman who was just like, I like killing people. And this worked. Like when you said urban legends, I said, this is a fun way to kill people. So I just did it. But no, he wanted to. Yeah, which I mean, and that was, I do really like how the blonde girl, and I don't remember her name, who is the bad actress, she killed, and they're watching her actual death going, this is the best acting we've seen. That was clever. Like that scene was really
and they
funny.
didn't buy the effects. They thought the effects could have been better.
More blood,
yeah.
Right?
I do like in the scream. The scream death when everybody's
really clever.
Everybody's recording the ambiance, the scream and stuff, and the guy's getting killed outside. I like that. That's cool.
Is that like the roller coaster?
Very clever, well timed.
No, that's the cameraman when he gets killed outside and they're recording. They have the boom. They're recording.
Is that like the urban legend of the when they're doing the roller coaster of love?
Well, it's
again kind of where it's like the recording. They didn't realize someone else was getting killed.
No, that's the this is the everybody screams at midnight on campus at the same time, and someone gets murdered during it, but everybody's screaming so no one can hear.
Take a moment to sit there. Why did they actually have to film that at midnight? Like they didn't. This wasn't a documentary, so right. Why? Like if you
and they were inside. It was on a set.
I know. So I'm very confused. I was just like, wait a second. So you're telling me that she gathered the whole crew to film this scene at midnight for like what, posterity? Like what was the actual like you could have filmed that at any point during the day because you were indoors on a set and just had people screaming. Like who cares?
So convenient and
I guess not. But then also the pivotal shot at midnight, the camera guy conveniently gets angry and annoyed and decides to storm out of the room right at the exact moment that they're filming it at midnight. Like,
right.
I mean, of all moments to choose, if you're gonna like film at midnight, I mean that's worse than choosing like golden hour to shoot a movie. You have such a small window that we're like, no, we're gonna shoot this midnight scene at freaking midnight because these clocks can't change on their own. Like, what are they thinking? So it was a clever idea that they did. Like, again, the urban legend is very cool, but it was a contrived way to get to that death in the movie. But just the killing walk out and they would conveniently still shoot without him because they're like, we can't waste time. Or would it have been whoever walked out of that room he would have killed? Like, was it just like luck of the draw that it was a cameraman, right? Or somebody else conveniently took a break at the time of screaming? Was he waiting? Like, okay, they're gonna die. Like, did he have a plan on who he was killing, or is it just he just wanted to kill people at convenient times?
Better not hope it's not Amy Mayfield, because then game over, right?
Right. Like that's the thing is that there was too many. At least in the first one, again, I really enjoyed this movie and I thought it was fun. I thought the deaths were cool. But when you really look at it, you're just wondering how did these deaths even happen and why? There was no real rhyme or reason. It just was, she took the drink. I got to kill her, I guess. This guy walked outside when they were screaming. Got to kill him. But it could have been anybody. It could have been anybody. So actually, now I'm more scared of this movie because, like, what if I were taking a break when somebody was just on a murder streak and was like hoping for somebody else, but I walked into the path of somebody screaming. I could have died in this movie for no reason other than just wrong place, wrong time. That's scary. Okay, this movie just became really scary.
But wasn't he killing anyone that worked on the movie?
That worked on the Travis's movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did that girl work on it? That got her, because maybe she was just a college student that also worked on it by chance, or maybe she was in the movie. So he's like, whatever. I'll
work on it.
Well, she was that one guy's girlfriend. So she was Travis's girlfriend. So I imagine she would have been in the movie. So Amy hired every single person that worked on that movie for her movie.
That was a good one. I'm going to do the same thing.
Which also would never happen in Film Scare.
Yeah. I'm going to delete her name. Oh, crap. Look.
Or he just wanted to break in that new coat and fencing mask. Because it's a new style of coat.
Did you like the fencing mask or the coat?
The fencing mask, couldn't you see face through the holes a little bit? But then everyone dies at Psalms. Never mind. I guess you couldn't.
I thought so the fencing mask with the hood over it and stuff, I'm like, that's a bit much. But when he was in the mine and he had the little like vest and stuff on with the fencing mask, I'm like, that kind of looks cool. There's your outfit. There's your outfit.
He's testing it still. He's trying to find his vibe. His vibe. Yeah. I'm so impressed how Rebecca Gayheart kept her hood up the entire time she was murdering people in the first one.
Sure.
Did she have a mask on too, like a ski mask with like
she had to over something?
Because I was like, it's not that shadowy. Just because you have a hood up, like it doesn't just like.
Right. Oh, where'd you go, Jessica? Who is that? Is that a killer?
Where'd you go, Jessica?
Oh my gosh, it's a killer.
I know.
Well, you know what helps?
No way.
If you get the
furry, won't see
if you have the furry lining, it hides the face. Fur. Yeah, the faux fur.
Apparently, it gives you that perfect shadow to kill.
So, Urban Legends Final Cup, is it a 90-minute build up to the line? Those who can't do teach.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Love it.
I was like, say it.
It's good, but he was trying to kill everybody who was involved in Travis's film. Somebody like as a professor who makes films and films are made with large crews. Like this would have been a mass murder beyond any comparison. There's at least 50 plus people you would have to have killed who worked on this movie. Claim it as my own if I kill all crew members and everybody involved. So he's like going through like a list being like, okay. And these deaths were really elaborate. You could have just had like a party and like drugged a punch for something and called it a cult and just wiped them out in one go. But instead you do these very elaborate deaths and you would have to do it for like 50 to 60 people. There's no way his film had less than that.
Also,
I mean,
he probably screened it for people that weren't involved in the movie to see it.
We were just thinking that too. I was like, and what about any early advanced screeners who saw it? So
this professor should know that.
Yeah, his plan just really failed.
Did you see that new Stark film? Yes.
Yeah, that's true. He could maybe have he everybody to some form of film a function. You may get a few strays in the mix, whatever. At this point, you're killing 60 people. What's a few strays? Puncher set fire to the room and burned them all in one go and then called it a tragic accident. Like that would have been smart because we're talking high numbers here, not like a group of 5 friends who conveniently all worked on one film together. Like that's just not how it works. So This professor really was a terrible professor, and that's the moral of the story. He wasn't even like those who teach. Well, this man couldn't even teach. He didn't even know how films work to know like the production and screenings and all the above. So this man, yeah. Oh, and that's the other thing too. The whole gun thing, clever. But I'm sorry, I'm into films and whatnot. Guns are not stories like faux guns like that look realistic enough to be confused with a real one. They would not have a box of like 30 of them just chilling there that could be casually knocked over. I thought it was cool and visually it was interesting in this scene, but you don't go into a prop house nor on any film or any show would up guns just be sitting there like that. Like 50 of them. Like, no, there is so much care and caution, and each one is individually packed that you wouldn't just have a box being like, we got the big shootout scene coming. Here's the
went for everybody.
And then like they script it, like justified it. But like anybody who was like any professor should have gotten like fired for allowing their students to have left a gun box and stored like that on the studio. So yeah, but again, still enjoyed the movie, but you just dumb choices were made, and that is why people die. But I guess that's just a fact for life. Dumb choices, people die.
Yep. John, Hart Bachner's character should have known better, and John Ottman, the director, should have known better. So, yeah. Before we move on in this one, notable songs in the soundtrack, just "Dolphins Cry" by Live. That was the only real one there that I think memorable. So now, Jessica will be entertained as Greg and I discuss Urban Legends Bloody Mary from 2005.
The Bloody Mary. Some drinks always satisfy. Bloody Mary. Some legends never die.
Well, supposedly if you go into the bathroom and turn off the lights and chant Bloody Mary 3 times, she appears. Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary.
A secret that has haunted this town for years.
Professor Alsman University kills his own students using urban legends as his MO.
There's something connecting this to what happened to those girls in 69.
Has come back to life.
It's Mary. You're saying a ghost is killing these kids.
Mary wants revenge on the people who took her youth.
Mom, you're not buying this, are you?
Now, the danger is spreading.
Oh, that's smart. Walk straight into the jaws of death.
Terror is growing.
There's something wrong. Don't you think that he would wake up before he cooked his ass?
And fear is taking a whole new shape.
Very slow.
Urban Legends Bloody Mary on DVD.
Directed by Mary Lambert, the director of Pet Sematary 1 and 2. She did some Tales from the Crypt, The In Crowd. People like these movies. Halloween Town, she did the second one. Yep. Written by Michael Dougherty. You know who he is? He did Trick or Treat, Krampus, Godzilla King of Monsters, and he'd written at this time X2 and Superman Returns with Dan Harris, who also writes this with him. This stars Kate Mara. Rooney, her sister, has a cameo in the background of a scene. Robert Vito, Lilith Fields, Tina Lilford, Ed Marinaro, Michael Coe, Nancy Everhard, and Donald Shanks. So we have some crossover from I'll Always Know What You Did last summer. He played the fisherman in that one. And he was also Michael Myers in Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. So there's a cross there. On a prom night dare, a trio of high school friends chant an incantation, unleashing an evil spirit from the past with deadly consequences. So at some point during this, unlike I'll Always Know What You Did last summer, this was intended for theatrical release. Mary Lambert believed she was making a theatrical release. Considering the directors, the screenwriter, and launching Kate Mara, I know she's not like woo, but her parents would have made her like she's got filthy rich parents that wouldn't have let her debut be like a straight to video movie. I kind of buy into that, but this fell into the straight to video sequel thing, straight to DVD at the time. Greg, Jessica's never seen this. Let her know what it's about a bit in your own words.
Oh dear, where do we begin? Okay, so we have we open up with the comparison to I Always Know What You Did last summer is the third one. We go into supernatural territory now. Mm-hmm. So we begin the movie with our 1960s or 50s, 1960s, and there is like a dance and a prom and a girl named Mary, and she's with a group of guys, and they're all dressed up and they're all cute and they're all having fun. And then one man gets a little handsy and takes them up to the school attic or wherever it is. What schools had attics, by the way? I don't know what that room was. And that just confused me so much in this movie. I don't know, Brandon, if you knew what it was. Like, what was it? Like the storage room of the high school or whatever that room was. Either way, some random abandoned like room in the high school that nobody ever goes to for years and years and years, which you'll find out later on.
It's like Crystal Lake where people disappear into it.
Gets a little handsy because it's like so basically like they're all like there and the guy wants to be like, it's a dance, like we're supposed to have like naughty name, and he like hits on this girl and they're up in the room and she like away and then he like knocks her out and then thinks that she's dead and locks her into a trunk in a school. And she's never to be seen again. Yeah. And that's how we start a movie. It's interesting. I like it. It's got promise. It's got hope. We got backstory. We got history. We got rapey man. We got woman defending herself and getting locked in a trunk. And you like see her eyes open when like she's in the trunk and you realize like she's still alive. And the dude didn't he panicked and like threw in her trunk that nobody would end up discovering for many, many, many years.
Of note, aside from Mary, these high school boys were not given any names. We don't have any names of these guys.
No names.
That's important.
It's just and one of the women is Black in this 1960s group. So they were inclusive back then. And she's the best character as an adult in this movie, which we'll get to. So now we like flash forward to, I can't believe a woman directed this. Because it's got every girl cliche in a movie that you can do, from the sorry, it's not even done ironically. It is in earnest when these girls have a pillow fight. They straight up have a pillow fight at the beginning of the movie. And it's choppy and very bizarre. But they're having a conversation about urban legends. And one of the girls goes, have you ever heard of the Bloody Mary? Like, if you say it 3 times, and they're like, oh, that's so funny, blah, 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 blah. They have their pillow fight. They say it 3 times. And they're all living, laughing, loving, live, laugh, love. And then like morning comes and the girl disappeared. Basically chaos ensues from then on. I'm trying to even remember.
There's a newspaper story with the girl's brother. So he's like,
thank you,
an asshole to people. Like when they go missing, like nobody likes him because he wrote some story because he did his research and told the truth.
Yeah, but what was the story on even? I feel like it was just like everything was disjointed in this movie. Because like again, this movie had one interesting storyline, and then it tried to like subvert your expectations by then like throwing in another killer. So a bunch of people start dying in stupid deaths where one of them was the like hatching. The CGI terrible. The spider like growing eggs in the cheek and then basically like eating her alive, which
oh my gosh, that's what
happened. If you watch this, it'll like assuage any fears you have because it's done in such a way that you can't be scared by it ever again. Because it's so CGI fake that you're like, is this really how it works? Like, were these spiders made of acid? Like to be able to do what they did? I don't know.
Yeah.
I did appreciate that there was a boy, and this was the 3rd time. By the time this movie came out, I think this would have been now the 3rd time we've seen a tanning bed, almost death or death, because I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, and then Final Destination, whichever number
3.
It was.
They beat Final Destination 3 to it.
3.
Final Destination 3 comes out, I think, the next year.
Oh, really?
Or it came out later that year or the next year.
This was before Final Destination 3, the tanning bed. Mm-hmm. Well, in this movie, though, it was a boy in the tanning bed, which created. Although, again, tanning beds don't work that way. It would have blown out at the temperature. He got like fried to a point of like non-reconcilable.
Like a cannibal wouldn't have ate him. Like he was that crisp.
Yeah, they don't work like that. It's not an actual fire.
15 minutes or 20 minutes. Like, yeah, I mean, how quickly would that have happened? Because I mean, the girl was on her phone being an airhead, like on the phone, not knowing until like smoke happened. The machine would have shorted out before he would have fried. And all that. For some reason, it was more believable in Final Destination. Maybe they like saw this movie and said, we're not going to do it like that. And we're going to make it work this time. But in this one, a boy gets fried to death to look like chicken. And a guy pees on an electric fence in the charge. Zaps his dick off in this movie. That's a death that happened. I did enjoy that one. That one was kind of fun.
One from Tommy Boy.
And the cop made a joke about it.
Yeah, he goes, "Holy shit, this guy's dick is still smoking." I wrote that down.
And again, a woman directed this movie. And then, so we start to find, and then another man, an urban legend that's referenced in, to the one with the dog in the shower.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fake out death in this. Well, by the way, anyway, one high school kid gets a motel and he's miserable and he's drinking, and they do the urban legend death, not the dog and like people lick too type of thing, but it's actually, so these deaths are being caused by the ghost of Mary, who got locked in the trunk, and that's where the supernatural aspect comes in. And now you find out why that she's killing all these kids. They are the offspring of that. She's killing all the children. So all these men, conveniently enough, children, same time with people, they all ended up going to high school together and all being together. So that's a lot of planning. Like, you thought that number 2 was contrived, where like he like had to like plan to like hire or bring that girl and admit her into the school and whatnot. This one, everybody in that prom group from the 60s who were all part of like the cover up of her death that they didn't even know they killed her, all had to die as revenge when it happened. So the only one who knows this is this Black woman who and that's another reference that they have, because isn't she watching in number 3 that woman, what's her name, Nancy, no, what's her character name, the Black woman, is it Nancy? No,
her name is,
it doesn't matter. I love her anyway. I love her, but they make a nod
Grace?
because
Grace.
Did I help?
Yep, that's Grace.
You did.
Yep,
Grace, well done,
Grace.
So we love Grace. She's kind of one-dimensional and she's high off her ass the entire movie, and she makes a point to say that she's like, I can't drive, but they do make a nod to because not Loretta the character, but the idea of Foxy Brown or something, because I know Loretta's watching Foxy Brown in 1 or 2 whatever, and
she's watching Coffee in the first one and Foxy Brown in the second one, and
in this movie when they meet Grace, they're like, oh, you're like Foxy Brown or something like that. They just kind of, I don't know if that was intentional. I feel like they tried to do little Easter eggs for the other movies, or like try to find ways to incorporate elements of 1 and 2 in this movie.
They should have said Friday Foster. That was the third Pam Grier one she did. They should have done that.
Oh,
they didn't. Or Sheba Baby, one of those.
What year was it supposed to take place?
There was a lot of
2005. It's present day.
If they were all like in high school in the 60s, let's say it was 1969. I'm trying to do the math.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Yeah, they didn't even have it like. It's one thing if they just had babies like right out of high school, you know.
Yeah.
You'd have to be born like in the 80s to then be in high school in 2005.
It'd be like 86 or 87. Like, yeah.
Been born in 80. Yeah.
Then they waited 20 years probably to have kids after high school. So not only they waited till they were 38. All of them to have children.
It's time.
Sorry, second's even worse. I was doing the math. I'm like, this is really bad. What timing?
It's really like it could have been good, and that's what's frustrating. Like the idea, like I don't know why they took that. Was there a reason it needed to be the 60s when they did the dance or something?
It's always that when they go to the past for adults. So
wasn't there an urban legend? Because like back in the 50s or 60s, I thought. Or maybe I'm thinking of a Are You Afraid of the Dark episode where it's like the prom date didn't pick her up. And so she like jumps off a bridge, or maybe she gets pregnant and then gets rid of her baby at prom. And maybe it's the crybaby bridge scenario.
Well, maybe. I don't. Well, but that's irrelevant because I think the whole point is the woman who got locked in the trunk was named Mary. So I think that was just the bloody Mary in the urban legend of like this angry woman that if you say her name 3 times, but like she was basically buried to death. I mean, not really buried, but locked in a trunk.
Right. Which don't worry, they do clown that on Candyman. They're like, Candyman knocked off Bloody Mary. And it's like, if you're going to do that, you better be a better movie than horror masterpiece, one of the greatest of all time, Candyman. But your urban legends, Bloody Mary, I would have just shut up about Candyman. But anyways, continue.
Yeah. So, but that's the other. So anyway, so like all these kids are dying. and they enlist Grace to try to remember her, but poor Grace is still stoned off her ass as an adult and traumatized by life over the years of this night, really, at all, or any of these men's names still to this day. So then they find the yearbook or something. They find the names, and then they go to the school. They take her van that's straight out of the 70s, because basically this woman stopped standing time after the 70s based on how it looked. Even though it's 2005, this woman, her apartment, her clothing, her van has not changed since the 70s.
Right.
She was like, I'm good with the 70s. I'm going to stick with it. I mean, I like consistency. So they get into the van. The one girl, the Rooney, not Rooney, Kate Mara has to drive the van because Grace can't function because she's too stoned. That's literally her character personality is I'm stoned. And then they get to the school where, is that when they discover that the trunk is up in there or something?
It's one of those oh shit, we gotta properly bury the body to make it go away.
Yep.
The
fact that death happened in the 60s, it is now, say if it was in 1969, which it was earlier than 1969 based on the clothing.
Mm-hmm.
So 60, but let's say 69 just for the sake of giving us a few years. It is now nearly 35 years later, but more closely to 40 years later. You're telling me that no human being went to this mysterious attic in the school
and
noticed the smell of a rotting corpse?
Oh.
Or they didn't renovate the school in 40 years? Or nothing. Someone has to go. Do they smoke so much? Is that the secret weed spot of the school that the stench of a dying body got covered up by weed over time?
Every school probably had AC installed, right? They had ventilation systems in up there, to go into the rooms. They would have moved that out.
They would have done something to this room, but no. It took the attitude of a girl on a mission in high school to uncover this 40-year-old mystery of a girl trapped at a school. So anyway, they take the body. So they casually take the body to a graveyard where then you get some more great CGI, but you get a fake out where you realize that now you start thinking, well, you do know that the ghost is killing people. Primarily in the under the bed one when the ghost lunges from under the bed and pulls them through. But you get a fake out when then you find out the rapist man is sheriff. Or no, he was
no, it's not the sheriff. They want you to think it's the coach the whole time, but it ends up being her stepfather who kills his own son during this, and because he finds out. And then,
oh my gosh!
Because he's running, he's like a local politician running for mayor, or he's running for re-election or something. But you know how bad this is that when you cut from the flashback at the beginning, one of the first scenes is with him, and you see all his signs and stuff. I'm like, that's the motherfucker who did all this. It's gonna end up being this guy by the end. It's just so telegraphed there. It's why all this hubbub for this guy, and now he's got a close relation to the girl. I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be this guy. This is gonna be who it ends up being, and it does.
Wow.
Yeah, well, he's the one that did, but he's simultaneously killing people while the ghost is killing people, but he's killing people to cover up the people who found out that it was him. While the ghost is people who are attached to him. So it just everybody in his life is dying, whether he's doing it or the ghost is doing it. And he knocks out Kate Mara aggressively with a shovel.
Right.
And he attacked and he killed Grace, didn't he?
No, he didn't kill Grace. He but because Grace is at the end, I would think with her.
No, but the graveyard, I thought he killed Grace.
Oh,
when Grace comes to save. When Grace comes to try to because Grace miraculously gets a rush of adrenaline and realizes girl in danger, I must now unstone myself and come get back to reality, and she shows up coherent. and tries to intervene on the fight to protect Kate. And I don't know, she gets knocked out. All I know is the body gets put into the grave, and then this like very elaborate CGI ghost woman comes back, where then she approaches her like rapey murderer, and she returns from her like corpsey look into the dreamlike girl that she once was, and seduces him, and then kisses him, and then steals his soul until he basically this is now has an audience, like an audience built around like this, not but still now at a graveyard, and now she can finally rest in peace. And the movie, and they kept playing the song, which I mean, I know you love songs, Brandon. You don't have to say you love me. You don't have to. One of those classic 60s
doo-woppers,
yeah, which they reprise during his like fucking death.
Yeah, which is a heart attack to all the normal people in the world. Like that's what it is,
obviously.
And she's like, "Oh, Kate Morrell's like, oh, little people aren't, what's this?" And they're never gonna know like everything in this. Someone goes, "Baby girl, you're the urban legend now."
Oh my gosh.
After her stepfather was gonna like decapitate her with a shovel, she has to go back home to mom and be like, "Yeah, you had a heart attack."
I know.
Did the ghost turn into like an actual person, or was she clearly a ghost the entire time when she was seducing him?
Oh, clearly a ghost.
Oh yeah, ghost. Okay. Yeah, she's a ghost.
Still being seduced by it just because of her magical powers.
She's like a slasher, but like, well, she slowly builds into just being a slasher villain. Like it's all supernatural, and then like the motel kid, she shows up, and it's like she starts getting more like a Jason type as it goes along.
Yeah, because the tanning bed death, he gets locked into it, and like mysteriously you see the heat temperature going up without anybody touching it. So you get like a supernatural. But yeah, I think it is the hotel room when you actually go, oh, now I'm just looking at a poorly made up. I don't think the under the bed was CGI. I think that was an actual human with just gray makeup on and the ragged wig that pulled him under. I don't think that was CGI.
Oh yeah.
I think they used a real woman for the ghost. Yeah. And then just added a glow around her in post. It could have been good. Like it had the elements to be a good thing, like a woman, where the woman was killed and then like comes back and possesses somebody at the school type of thing and then killed people. Like it could have gone more of that direction of like Prom Night 2 and made it interesting, where it could have been like a student at the high school who got possessed by the ghost of Mary and killed the children. That would have been interesting to me.
See, this is what I was going to say. You keep saying like could have been good. I'm like, well, if you want to see a good version of it, there's Hello, Mary Lou, Prom Night 2, because
Prom Night 2.
This movie knocks that one off probably in a way that people are going to remember that. And like, there's so much of that, but that one is so much better. That one, I actually think Prom Night 2 is better than Prom Night 1. And that movie is like one of the best, like not quite knockoff of Nightmare on Elm Street, but in the same type of slasher vein as like a Freddy, but kind of doing its own thing. And that's a super cool movie that is very much what this one is trying to be and failing at miserably. But it also, and this was maybe they would have done more post-production to like color timing and stuff, but this doesn't, it's supposed to be theatrical, but it does not look theatrical at all. The look of it,
especially for 2006.
Yeah.
Right.
It was 2005.
Okay. Well, still,
not that mattered, but yeah.
But we've seen some quality movies by 2005 where this is embarrassing, that I feel like this movie looks like it should have been what film students made in number 2 Urban Legend movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if somebody told, you know what, that would have been the most brilliant twist of all 3 Urban Legends. If this movie was playing and then at the very end of it, you saw a classroom gathered together and it was like a group of kids in a film school being like, this is my movie on Urban Legends, and they like failed the class. That would have been really clever.
And they make it like it's for the award that is now named after the girl from the second one.
Yes. Like that would have been so funny if it was that this was like an urban legend movie made by a film school as a nod to the second one or something.
And somebody's praising it in the audience, and a girl leans over and goes, these have gone far off the deep end. And it's Rebecca Gayheart.
Then sign me up.
There we go. Like this, and this has the aesthetic of like a religious movie almost. Like it has an aesthetic of like one of those kind of. It reminded me of like I used to do all these like QC when I was in DVD and Blu-ray for this company called Magnolia Pictures, and they would buy up stuff that looked like this. There was like this movie with Sunny Mabry in it, if you remember her. It was this kid who had like a Make-A-Wish thing, and like he was supposed to pick this football player, and he ended up picking this model. Oh gosh, what was it called? It had Cynthia Nixon in it too, but it just that really cheap like what did you use the camera I can get to shoot my home movies at like Best Buy with or whatever to make this? It looked better than that, but it's just kind of like you don't have like a film look to you at all. Like it's a little too stuff that's like a little too clear, a little too natural moving. That's what this one kind of looks like. And it's weird because it's Mary Lambert. She's done some good shit. Like she did Pet Sematary. Tales from the Crypt. Like
editing was kind of bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The editing was kind of like there was too many like pregnant pauses in this too between like cuts of people talking. Like it lost its snappiness at times. I don't know. I don't know what I'm just surprised a woman directed it, given how women are kind of portrayed in this movie. Like it's just they're not really fleshed out characters. I mean, I like all of the women in it. There's none that like I'm really the only girl who's brutally killed is the one with the spiders in the cheek, right? Because Anna's tanning bed and the dick getting like electrocuted off is a man.
The motel kid.
Motel kid. Yeah. So really, this movie is like very like let's kill men. But they're all douchey men. But the women though aren't really empowered, I feel like. And even Kate Mara's character, she just kind of always just seems like I get why people are dying all around her, but the stakes aren't really there because I don't feel like this group of friends is really that. I think that's the only thing about this movie that you can kind of say works is that like they all know each other, but they're not like conveniently enough best friends either. Like that at least works because a lot of these movies, it's convenient when like they're all best friends somehow. And like this plot just conveniently works that they're all friends. Like I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, when conveniently enough, the son happened to become best friends with Brandy and Julie and like, and managed to weasel his way onto this trip. Like that is too unlikely in this movie. But that's why I feel like these deaths, there's no reason for her to really feel invested on it as much as she could have if she cared about the people dying. I guess this is like the era of like true crime snooping before that became such a big thing with the internet, where like people are like, oh, a murder happened, we must solve it on our own because cops are useless. That like I feel like this is almost an introduction into that world of like, this girl being like, people are dying. I want to find out why. And she just becomes so overly invested. I just don't really get why she would. And now I'm forgetting, what was the whole disappearance thing again?
That confused the shit out of me because I rewound it and I went back and I was like, what? Because so these girls do the Bloody Mary thing in the beginning of the movie, and then it goes to the next day and they've disappeared. And then they like randomly come back and they're distraught and it's weird and they don't want to talk about it. And I'm like, oh, this is like Bloody Mary took them. And then they're like, no, these guys might have drugged them. And it's like, when did they go to do anything? Like they never left to go to a party. And then like later on, some guy admits that he did it. And then there's like some scene of a party or something that's just gone from this movie that I was lost. I was like, wait, what?
Did they get transformed that night or something? Like maybe they got sent back to the 1960s when Bloody Mary was
That's what you want to think, but no, it ends up being some guy just drugged them that was some off-screen event that we never had any idea.
That sucks. That's the bathtub with ice from the second one. It's like, we want to do a really cool like thing, but like
Well,
I have to explain it.
But you didn't even get a visual of it, though.
Yeah, no, you got nothing. But it's a more interesting movie if these girls disappear. They come back like, oh, and they're like, what happened to these girls? I was like, okay, that's not what this story is. That's not at all.
No, it was never really discussed again until they briefly like just said, oh yeah, that happened. But like again, they set it up to look like Bloody Mary did it or something, because they do the Bloody Mary. Next scene, she's disoriented and drugged, and you're like, what happened? Like right there, perfect opportunity to possess her.
Yep.
Like Bloody Mary came back as Kate Mara. Like that.
Kate Mara's got like this
movie.
auburn hair.
The urban legend, and now, right? Like if she got possessed, like if basically like they say Bloody Mary, and then Bloody Mary, rather than killing her, she's like, wait a second, I've got a better plan. I can possess her and she can do my bidding for me and kill her.
Yeah.
Which again would have copied Prom Night, but would have been different enough because in Prom Night, like she was kind of a slut and she was like slut shamed back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
In this one, this woman is just basically killing a rapist. Like, so I mean, it's a different movie, like possessed for a different motive. Like who can, like I would like, there's enough possession movies, like just possess Kate Mara. And then not only then is she killing the murders, then she like killing the people under like the possession of Mary, but she could have also been so disoriented that she's trying to solve the murder simultaneously, only to discover that she's the one committing the murders the whole time.
And then
she's basically my blood Valentine.
And then she gets locked up at the end next to Hart Bachner, and then Rebecca Gayheart shows up for another appearance.
Ooh. Wait a minute. So did Kate Mara have any connection to Bloody Mary?
No.
Her stepfather was the guy who killed her.
So maybe her real mother or something or whatever, her father, whoever isn't in the picture, to make it a step. That was his sister. So then she didn't even know about this aunt because they just never talked about it. So then,
I don't.
Oh, that would have been good.
That would have been cool, but that's not there. That's not there.
This urge to discover.
It's bad.
That would have been really. That's true. That if Bloody Mary was actually the aunt of Kate Mara or some form of like relative, like that would have been great. But no, we get stepdad who conveniently enough. But then I feel like Kate Mara then is just bad circumstance because it could have just been any child. Like she's not attached to it. It's just the stepfather is. So the stepfather didn't even have to try to kill Kate Mara. It just because Kate Mara started looking into the murders that then she became a person of interest that he knew he had to take out in order to protect himself. Like if Kate Mara never actually investigated the murders, then stepdad wouldn't have had to like try to kill his stepdaughter.
Right.
He did kill his stepson, right?
Oh no, his real son. It was his real son.
That's so it's awful. What?
Yeah.
What?
Not a good person. He's not a good person.
No, he's terrible.
The step can stay because I like to touch her. That's what it sounds like. Oh.
Well, he tried to kill her though. It just for some reason she was scrappier and survived. Because she had a ghost on her side, I guess. Yeah. But or what would have been even better is if Mary possessed her at the end and then like she got like demon powers and killed him. Like that would have been more interesting. And then she's now accused of her stepdad's death, and she's like, no. And then we like, what? Like, there's so many things.
And she's crazy. She's like, it wasn't me, it was a ghost. And then she's back into the insane asylum.
Yeah. And then she's in a psych ward with Rebecca Gayheart again. It all comes back to Rebecca Gayheart, and that's why.
So, anyway, so like they were actually going to do a fourth urban legend film, and it got made, but before it went into production, they dropped the urban legend title of it. So, if you ever see a movie called Ghosts of Goldfield, that was intended to be the fourth urban legend movie, straight to video again. Sony sold the rights to that to another company and then took them back from that company intending to make it the fourth urban legend, and never got made, but it was not official.
I'm gonna watch this. If this is like about that Goldfield Hotel,
it's on Tubi.
Yeah, it's on Tubi. Oh, Tubi's the best. You know it's on Urban Legend Bloody Mary should be on Tubi. But it's not. Yo, Lutz.
Kellen Lutz is in it. Okay, I'm watching this immediately.
Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Yep, it's Piper. Yeah,
Joe
the Piper's
Bob Briggs. Sign me up.
There you go. So there's that little nugget. So as we wrap these up, which one was your favorite of the urban legends?
Number one.
Jessica, number one. Greg?
Oh, yes.
I mean, I have to go number one, but I like the production quality of number two a little bit more.
I got to go number one, but like it's not that far ahead. Like it's not quite a coin toss, but it's almost there for a coin toss. Now, next question, do you like the urban legends better than I Know What You Did Last Summer?
Oh.
No, only because I still feel like I Know What You Did Last Summer. Again, I want to empower women as killers because, Scream. I mean, great. It's great. But like, I still don't understand how Brenda could have done what she did. So that's like the magic of killing. And I just feel like I Know What You Did Last Summer is almost more realistic, and I buy into it.
It feels like it has a sense of urgency that's lacking in urban legend.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, I'm just getting revenge on all my friends too, just to tick you off.
Yeah.
Like, what did these people do to her? Nothing. She just wanted to kill him. Why not?
Which I liked. But I think as an ensemble, the I Know What You Did Last Summers are stronger. I think in the editing and the snappiness of it. I think concept wise, Urban Legends 1 and 2 are more clever than the other two, but I think the performances and some of the iconic lines and scenes are stronger in I Know What You Did Last Summer. So story-wise, Urban Legends stronger, and I think they could have been made better. But I Know What You Did Last Summer just organically works. But I think that is all thanks to the cast that they got. They really they the perfect for this movie with Sarah Michelle Gellar and Julie. Why am I forgetting Jennifer Love Hewitt? Thank you.
Yes,
and the two boys. I just think that blend worked magic.
So you'd say I Know What You Did Last Summer, the first one's the best of all of these? Is that where we're at? Or
I would say that, but then Urban Legend, the first Urban Legend, is like the number two.
Yeah. I'd be
almost like the first ones are still the best. But again, Urban Legends, the final cut, like I really did enjoy it. Like
the final cut
this is a good movie.
It's definitely better than the second I Know What You Did Last Summer final cut, and the first Urban Legend. I would say is better than the second and third I Know What You Did Last Summers. Which better of the bottom feeders, Greg? Bloody Mary or I'll Always Know? Who's the straight to video king?
Honestly,
or queen?
I'm gonna and I say this very casually, but I'm gonna give it to Bloody Mary.
Yep, yep.
Only because I think there are more things that are so absurd and memorable in Bloody Mary. Maybe not for good reasons, but I remember them better than I Always Know. Like, I can barely tell you a thing about I Always Know right now. I remember some of it, but there are parts of Bloody Mary that are like ingrained in my head. Again, not for the right reasons, but at least they stuck with me. So for that reason, it beats out I'll Always Know.
All right. Yeah, I'm with you there. I'll say I probably go with I Know You Did Last Summer at the top, but like Urban Legends keeps creeping up on it, like knocking on the door, breathing down its neck, the first Urban Legend. But I like Final Cut too, like a lot. So it's some pretty good stuff there. So awesome.
They do follow the same path though. When you look at like the first Urban Legend, the first I Know What You Did Last Summer, there's like they're convoluted, but they're still grounded in some form of reality. And then the sequels for both of them, the most contrived plot that you never that just all conveniently have to align. And then the third one's just jump straight into supernatural.
True. Yeah.
So like they really just kind of just held hands and said, we're going for this journey together. But I think I Know What You Did Last Summer as a whole would probably that trilogy.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, thank you both for this. As we were recording, 2-hour conversation about Urban Legend 1, 2, and 3. And appreciate that. I hope you all have had fun. Before we head out, Jessica, where can people keep up with you right now?
On Twitter at Jane Alsman, Instagram at Jessica Alsman, and over at the Bob and Tom Show. If you listen, you can listen on the Bob and Tom Show mobile app. It's free. I'm usually on Wednesdays. How about that?
Excellent.
Please send me your favorite Rebecca Gayheart memes.
There you go. All right. And Greg?
You can find me on social media platforms under the McGoonies. So and then McGoonies, McGoonies. And awesome. I use Instagram the most out of all of those.
There you go. Nobody pushing mastodons anymore. Was that what, or was that what it was I signed up for? But okay. And I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Brandon4KUHD. The written work is at whysoblue.com. We're going to keep this train running, as next week we are going to begin our march to Scream 6 coming out in March. So next week, we're not doing the whole Scream thing. We are going to give Scream a film by film approach. Not the most original idea on podcast, but it's the only one with these three giving their ideas and opinions on a podcast. So
I will say Scream, the movie Scream, here's your teaser, brought me a new love at a very young age. Added to the top 5 was Matthew Lillard.
Oh, okay.
He made it on the list, and I think he's still there because it's laminated. So.
Oh, okay.
As long as he doesn't do anything really, really bad.
No, as far as I know, and I know people that are friends with him, that's not going to happen. But yeah, as Master P said, Scream. That's coming up. So we'll be talking Scream from 1996, and then continuing on Scream 2, Scream 3. You can count, and then Scriforum, and then Scream again. Not Scream again, but anyways, lots of anecdotes. It's going to be a lot of fun to go back to the past and go through these that I know on the back of my head pretty well. So that's next week, and I hope you enjoyed Urban Legends to warm up for that. So in the meantime, while you're waiting, read up on your ULs and stay film positive.
Thank you for listening. The Brandon Peters Show is a Creative Zombie Studios production. Produced by Brad Shoemaker and Brandon Peters. Written and edited by Brandon Peters. Announcer vocals by Jessica Alsman. Theme song by Metavari. Web design and show art by Brad Shoemaker with Brandon Peters. All music and clips featured in the episode are property of their respective studios, and no infringement is intended. Additional information on this and other episodes at BrandonPetersShow.com. For any inquiries, press opportunities, or sponsorship, contact mail at BrandonPetersShow.com. The show is available on Apple Music, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts are found.